So we will be solving the chapter 8 problems today. First problem that we can see is the separation techniques which we will be applying for the separation of the following. So here we are discussing the separation techniques. It is the separation techniques for the following. The first one is, it is sodium chloride from its solution in water. So it is sodium chloride from its solution in water. In this case, remember that sodium chloride is already mixed with water. So the thing that you can do is to evaporate. If you evaporate, what you will see is the water will be evaporated faster and leaving the sodium chloride behind. So the process in this case will be evaporation. The next one, let me write down the questions first. Then we will be solving the problems. The next one is ammonium chloride NH4Cl from a mixture containing of NH4Cl plus NaCl. So from this, how can we separate? Next one is small pieces of metal in the engine oil of a car. Small piece of metal in the engine oil of a car. Next is different pigments from an extract of flower petals. Different pigments from an extract of flower petals. Next one is butter from curd. Butter from curd. So let us see the answers of these first, then the further ones we are going to see. So here, first we have already replied. Next one is the ammonium chloride from a mixture of ammonium chloride and NaCl. Since both are solid, so sublimation process will be best. In this case, one will be sublimed quickly, another will not be doing so quickly. Third one is small pieces of metal in the engine oil of a car. Since the metal is there, you can use the magnetic separation method. In the third case, magnetic separation. Then the next one, different pigments from an extract of flower petals. Pigments are there, so the chromatography will be the best method. Chromatography. And then the butter from the curd. In that case, you can use churning method. So these are the answers of the first 5 questions. Next we have, let me erase this first, then we are going to proceed for the rest of the questions. Next one we have is green leaves, that is F, oil from water. Oil from water. Then we have tea leaves from tea, tea leaves from tea. Then we have iron pins from sand, iron pins from sand. Then we have wheat grains from husk, wheat grain from husk. Then we have fine mud particles suspended in water, fine mud particle suspended in water. So let us see. So obviously oil from water, that is the question number F. I think the separating funnel will be the best way, because it will create two immiscible liquids. Oil will float on water, so water will go down easily. Then we have the question number G, that is tea leaves from tea. I think it is very easy. Filtration, simple filtration method we can use. Filtration method. Iron pins from sand. Obviously iron pins will be attracted by magnets, so magnetic separation will be the way. Magnetic separation. Wheat grains from the husk. So in this case, winnowing, that will be the method, winnowing. This is the method of separating wheat grains from husk, just to remember. And fine mud particles suspended in water. Here two methods, filtration you can use, filtration, or sedimentation. Either of them you can use. Next is, write the steps you would like to use for making tea. So here the question I am not rewriting. Question is, write the steps you would use for making tea. Use the word solution, solvent, solute, dissolve, soluble, insoluble, filtrate and residue. So let me write down the processes. So question number 2 we are solving now. In question number 2, the steps, first what we are going to do, we are going to boil water. And boil water is what? Solvent, because we have to use these words. Check the question carefully, we have to use these particular words. Then we are adding tea leaves. Add tea leaves. What are these? This is solute. Then we have to filter through a tea strainer. Next one, next step is filter through a tea strainer. Let me write down the steps first, that would be better. So in this case, obviously what will happen is, at the effect of this, that soluble components dissolves filtrate. Soluble components dissolve filtrate. And it will form the tea water. Tea water you can treat it as solution. After that, what happens? Tea leaves has to be separated. So tea leaves left in the strainer. Tea leaves left in the strainer. That is, we can say insoluble part of residue. Insoluble part of residue. Next question is a solubility chart. So here let me write down the chart once again. Substance dissolved per 100 gram of water. And here the temperature has been given, it's 283, then we have 293, then we have 313, then we have 333, and then we have 353. So here we have potassium nitrate, then we have NaCl, then we have KCl, then we have ammonium chloride. So these are the 4 salts which is given, and we are checking how much it will be dissolved in 100 gram of water. The values are given like this. So here it is, I'm just writing down one by one. 21, 32, 62, 106, 167. Next is 36, 36, 36, 37, 37. Then we have 35, 35, 40, 46, 54. Then we have 24, 37, 41, 55 and 66. So these are the datas. First question, I am not rewriting the question because it will take unnecessary space. The first question is, I am reading it out so that we can discuss the related answer to this. Carefully listen. What mass of potassium nitrate would be needed to produce a saturated solution of potassium nitrate in 50 gram of water at 313 Kelvin? So first is potassium nitrate, means we are talking about this one. The temperature that is given is 313. 100 gram will dissolve 62 gram. It is given in gram obviously. So for potassium nitrate, if it is 100 gram, in 100 gram of water, we need 62 gram of KNO3 of solute. So if you are having 50 gram of water, to make a saturated solution, you need 31 gram for saturated solution. This is the first case. Let us see the next question. Pragya, make a saturated solution of potassium chloride at 353 Kelvin and leaves the solution to cool at room temperature. What would she observe as the solution cools? So what she has done is a saturated solution of potassium chloride at 353 Kelvin. Then she allows it to cool. So obviously in the second case, on cooling, solubility decreases. Solubility decreases. If the solubility decreases at this temperature for potassium chloride, she has made a saturated solution. That means she must have taken 54 gram of potassium chloride in 100 gram. Now if she is cooling, that means the temperature is coming low, temperature is decreasing. So at that point of time, 100 gram of water will be capable of dissolving less amount, 46, 40 or 35, whichever may be the amount, depending on how much cooling she has done. So the amount that she has dissolved, now at that condition, that won't be possible to dissolve. So what will happen is, some solute will separate out. Some solute particles will be separated out. So this will be the answer of the first two. Now I am erasing this two. I hope you have written down. Then we are going to go for the next two questions. Next question is, find the solubility of each salt at 293 Kelvin. So it is already given, you see, at 293 Kelvin, whatever is the solubility, I don't think I need to rewrite, it is given already. There is an attached question. Which salt has the highest solubility? Check at 293 Kelvin, the maximum amount, that option C, ammonium chloride, which can dissolve 37 gram in 100 gram of water, that is the maximum solubility at that particular temperature. Next is, what is the effect of change of temperature on solubility of salt? Effect of change on temperature. So what you can see, as the temperature rises, as T increases, obviously what will happen? The solubility, you see, it is increasing. So solubility increases. That is the generalized case, generally. Because in higher classes you will be observing few abnormal cases where even if you increase the temperature, solubility may decrease. But in general, you see in all the cases, temperature is increasing, solubility, the amount of solute that can be dissolved in a particular amount of solvent, will be increasing. Up next, I would like to skip one or two questions for you to solve, because those are descriptive questions and we have discussed that during the regular online classes. The next question is that I would like to ask is question number 6. Here, how would you confirm that a colorless liquid given to you is pure water? So I have to prove that a colorless liquid that is given to me, colorless liquid, if it is water, what should be its physical properties? That I can check. So if the pressure is normal, if the pressure is normal, then this one should boil at 373 Kelvin or 100 degree Celsius. So the given liquid, you check whether at normal pressure it boils at this temperature or not. If it is, then it is definitely pure water. If the pressure is normal, it should boil at this temperature only. So very easy question. So I am going for the next one, to question number 7. Which of the following materials fall in the category of pure substances? Question number 7. So I am writing down the materials. First one is ice. Second one is milk. Third one is iron. Fourth one is hydrochloric acid. Fifth one is calcium oxide. That is EF is mercury. Then we have brick. Then we have wood. We have to see which out of these which are pure substances. So obviously in case of ice, it is only H2O, nothing is mixed with this, so it is pure. Then milk is definitely not pure because it is a colloidal substance. Two things are mixed over there. Then iron. Iron is obviously Fe is the formula and nothing is mixed with pure iron. Then we have HCl. See, HCl if you take, it is HCl mixed with water actually. So it is not pure. Then obviously calcium oxide in solid form it is pure. Then mercury is definitely pure. Brick and wood. these are mixed substances, so these are not pure. So I have classified the pure substances. Then we have question number 8. In the question number 8, the question is identify the solutions among the following mixtures. So some of them are given, I'm rewriting. We have to identify which of these are solutions. So A is soil, B is sea water, C is air, D is coal, E is soda water. Okay, so which of these are solutions? First of all, if we take sea water, it is a mixture of NaCl and water only. So it is definitely a homogeneous mixture if nothing is suspended. So it is definitely, I will take this. As we know, soil is a mixture of so many things. Sand will be there, mud will be there. Air is always a mixture. It is a mixture of different kind of gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc. In case of coal, here you see, if we are talking about solution, coal means what? It is only carbon. So we cannot say it is a solution. But in case of soda water, it is a gas mixed with water. So soda water is definitely a true solution. So out of this, there are only 2 options which I found to be correct. Now, few of them I haven't solved. So it will be my request to you people to go through the rest of the problems of the NCERT, and if the problem remains, you mention the name of the question and accordingly you can ask me. So these are the few problems which I have solved. The ones that I have skipped, you are supposed to solve those.